You tell Bo, if he wants his town, come see me.
Hi everybody, I'm Peter Travers and welcome to Popcorn, where we tell you what's happening at the movies. And there's a movie now, a shoot-'em-up Western called The Magnificent Seven, that, I don't know, if you just want to sit back and have a blast at something, this is the movie to do it. My guest today is sort of a new young actor who's never done a Western
That's
before.
correct.
Right.
That's correct.
But it's nice to have you here,
I'm new to the scene.
New to it all.
I'm hoping one day I'll make it, and you know, if this.
What will you do with all that success? I don't know.
I have no experience, so I don't know what to do.
That. But it is, Denzel. It is. You're a virgin in terms of Westerns.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You were really thinking that one through. It was
well,
like,
yeah,
what does
I
he mean?
was like,
right.
where's he going now? Where's he
minute.
going?
Think I have these children. Yeah, right.
They don't make them. They don't make many of them.
They don't make them.
What was True Grit? What's the last one? Unforgiven, obviously, 20 years ago. True Grit.
True Grit wasn't that long ago.
Wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
310 to Yuma.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is fun. I mean, and it is sort of like a boy's dream. You get to get on the horse and you ride, you know, got the guns and spinning them and all of that.
It sounds like it, but before we started the show, we were talking about you getting brought up in Mount Vernon, New York, and me in Yonkers, New York. As I recall, there were no horses.
Well, Yonkers Raceway.
There was
the Trotters.
The Trotters.
The Trotters.
But they never let me on.
They never let you
so
either.
It didn't happen. So you say at this point in your life, sure, I'm going to do this. And so do you have writing experience?
No.
No.
No. I brought Antoine Fuqua, the director. I brought Equalizer to him and Training Day. And he returned the favor with bringing this one to me. They had gone to him first, MGM. And he talked about his life growing up and how Westerns inspired him to want to be a filmmaker. And his enthusiasm and passion for the project is really what convinced me.
But did you have it? When you were growing up, were you watching Westerns?
Not really. My father was a minister, so we didn't go to, you know, King of Kings, 10 Commandments.
That was it.
That was about it.
That's why you did the
Wizard
Preacher's
of Oz.
Wife. Yeah.
You know, once a year. That was about it.
There's no cowboys. There's no shooting.
We saw Bonanza.
But oh well, see that counts.
Well, but it was a double-edged sword because I knew we had to go to bed at the end of Bonanza Sunday night, so I liked it, but I didn't want it to. Ed Sullivan, then Bonanza, then go to bed.
And then it was over.
Go to bed.
It's 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock,
yeah.
go to bed. So I always liked, what was the left-handed guy, Michael Landon? He was left-handed. What was his name?
Little Joe.
Little Joe.
Haas.
Yep, Hop Sing. See, I did
and
watch
now,
it.
that's good
Hop
because
Sing.
you've done that. There's a thing going on in this Magnificent Seven, besides yourself as African American, where there's diversity all over.
Right.
You got a guy from Korea, right? You got a Texican.
That's right.
Really, you know, it's completely diversity, and what I love about it is no one says a damn thing about it.
It's actually, in some ways, reflective of the real West. And it wasn't even called the West, it was called the frontier. So as far west as civilization had gone, that was the frontier. And you had all kinds of people that were trying to make it. And if you had ability and strength and determination, be you black, white, yellow, you could carve out, you know, a niche.
You could do it.
You could do it.
You could do it. But was that always the idea, is to make this a diverse Western where nobody threw it in your face?
No. I mean, you could talk to the filmmaker about it, what his idea was, but
I'm sure that
But no, we didn't look at
you.
it that way. We didn't say, oh, we got to make sure we, because it was already, I guess maybe by the time the script came to me, it was already in the script. And because I hadn't seen the original, I didn't really. No, I
Still haven't seen it.
I told you, King of Kings, 10 Commandments.
King of Kings. So there was nothing, even when you signed on, that you said, I'm going to go look at this 1960
No, I would never
version.
do that.
Never.
Because if you have ideas, you want them to be yours. You don't want to watch something and go, oh, I can't do that because he did that. Or I just rather keep
Well,
it fresh.
if you were imitating Yul Brynner, you would have to shave all your head.
Yeah, well, see,
that would
right
be
away
too tough.
you say imitate.
Imitate,
So
right.
that's the wrong word for an actor. I don't want to imitate anyone. And both films really were, as you know, were inspired by Seven Samurai.
That's right. Did you see that one?
Of course.
Of Kurosawa.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, it's good because that was like the middle of the 50s.
Right.
That Seven Samurai came
1954,
out.
I think.
Yeah, and then comes 1960, we
Right.
get this one. So
Right.
it's been a long time before somebody did a remake like
Right.
this one.
I don't know why they wanted to, but I'm glad they did. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed riding and gun spinning. We all got pretty good old.
Well, Chris Pratt told me that he's the only one that was good at it, and that you were basically
He
just
didn't.
trying.
No, actually, Emmanuel, the Mexican kid, was the best.
He was the
He
best.
was the smoothest. He could spin them sideways and do all the. But I had my little bit I could do.
I hear that you brilliantly decided to shoot it in Louisiana, where the temperature would always be over 100 degrees.
And it rained every day, and we got 2 months behind, so they could save money, which ended up costing them money.
Costing them much more money to
Penny
do
wise,
that.
pound foolish.
What does that do to all of your moods?
Black man with a black hat, with a black shirt, with a black vest, with black pants, black boots, black socks, black underwear on a black horse, and it's 105 degrees. All you could be was cool. You had to be. It was too hot to overdo anything.
Yeah. Could you will yourself to being cool? Can you convince yourself it's okay?
No, but the saloon, they kept the air conditioning in the saloon, so everybody kind of hung out in there. But it made it worse because as soon as you walked out the door, but Antoine actually wanted that sweaty kind of,
He got it.
Yeah, he got it. He got it.
You got to be trusting him. I mean,
you
he
know.
did direct you to that Training Day Oscar.
That's correct.
Yeah. Chris Pratt also said he would have been really great in Training Day.
Did he?
Yes.
Chris,
that would have
that would have been interesting.
See, it would have
He would have been
interesting.
6 or something when it came out.
But how is working with this guy?
Chris,
Yeah.
and I mean this, he has a quality, and the only one else that I've worked with that has it is Tom Hanks, where you just like him. He's a good man. He's a decent, wholesome, funny, big dude, but likes to just fish and hunt. I don't even think he realizes he's famous. He's just a guy, So
Yeah.
he was
so you
real,
could relate
really
to him in that way.
just easy to get along with and funny. And so, it was easy.
So when you're growing up in Mount Vernon, are you a good kid? You say that your father is a minister. Right. Any trouble?
Well,
Come on, Denzel.
I was mischievous.
Mischievous.
My 3 closest friends did quite a bit of time.
Really?
Oh yeah, in decades. And my mother had enough sense to get me out of that situation before it was going to be my turn. So I was what they call throwing rocks at the penitentiary, but I never hit it.
What saves you from it?
My mother, basically.
She did it.
I mean, she taught us right from wrong, but just the grace of God, I never got caught.
There you go.
Let me just call it what it is. I never got caught.
I never got caught.
I never got caught.
That was lucky.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
it was good, and then you could. But did you ever?
But I also knew right from wrong, so I didn't want to go too far. But I dipped my toe in the water. But I didn't. And then so in the 9th grade, she got me into a private school, and my 3 closest friends started heading further and further in another direction. And one did 28 years, one did good 20, and one did 12.
What about your dad being a minister? Was that ever an ambition of yours to do it?
Well, I thought about it, but it was because we had to go to church. I hated it.
I see.
Because you had to go in the morning, you had to go at night, you had to go in the afternoon. It was like a job, So, no, I rejected it in my early, teen years when you're working stuff out.
But you got interested in the theater,
Right.
pretty early, didn't you?
No, in college.
In college.
In
Well,
college.
that's early.
Yeah, I was, and I told my children, there's nothing wrong with a good liberal arts education. And you don't have to know at 17 or 18 what you're going to do the rest of your life. So I was actually pre-med because I thought, you go to college and you be a doctor. Then I went political science, pre-law. Well, first of all, I took a course, Chordate Morphogenesis, in the chemistry course, and not only could I not spell it.
Well, I didn't know what you
I
were
don't know
saying.
what. Yeah, chordate morphogenesis.
You just like saying it, don't you?
Yeah. That's all I remember about it. And I may be saying it wrong, but I found out I wasn't doctor material. I found out I wasn't lawyer material. Then I started studying journalism. So I was actually working my way toward the arts. I didn't know it. So I went from pre-med to pre-law to journalism to acting by my junior year of college.
And you got to basically play all those things.
Yeah, I guess I have. Right? Well, remember that commercial?
kind of did.
I'm not a doctor, but I played one on
I
TV.
played one on TV.
Yeah,
That's
true.
it. You did do all of that.
Doctor, lawyer. What's the third thing I said? Journalist.
Journalist?
Yeah. Pelican Brief. Yeah,
Pelican
sure.
Brief, so you did all that.
Yeah.
So do you feel that you've lived all these lives by doing what you're doing?
I have a great job, because I'm not a method actor, but one of my favorite books is Uta Hagen's Respect for Acting.
Mm-hmm.
So I get into the parts, but you get to get on a horse, you get to, one day you do this, you do that. So you get to experience different lives. I mean, when I did the movie Flight, I got to get in the flight simulators,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have to learn how to land because we were going to crash anyway. But you learn
So
how to,
good,
yeah,
if you
you
don't-
learn how to take off,
yeah.
and you get to put your toe in different worlds, toe in the water.
What about your kids? When they're growing up and they're looking at you, what is the reaction to you being in all of these movies?
They don't know any different. I remember my oldest son who, shameless plug by Dad, who stars
do
on
it, yes.
with The Rock on Ballers. And his sister, by the way, is a really great actor, Olivia Washington is a great actor. But I remember when he was a kid, he's like, Dad, it's such pressure, you're so famous. And I was picking him up from school. I said, your friend Joey's dad runs the studio. If his dad doesn't give me a job, you don't go to school here. So don't get fame mixed up with real power. I said, you be nice to, and by the way, be nice to Joey, your friend. So he kind of put two and two
He
together.
took that advice.
Yeah, well,
to
he
do
didn't
that.
realize, fame is good, but it's not necessarily power.
But you've had it consistently. It's pretty good. I mean, the first movie you did is Carbon Copy,
Right.
which
George
doesn't
Siegel.
live in the time capsule of
Right.
great comedies.
No.
But you must have learned something from doing that movie, that first one.
Actually, George gave me a clue.
George Siegel.
About westerns. I was doing a play.
Look, it all comes together.
It all comes together. I was doing a play called When the Chickens Came Home to Roost, 1981, about Malcolm X. And there's an entrance I have in the play. And George said, "Oh, you got to remember, act like an old Western when whatever the bad guy, the gunslinger, he comes in and he stops before he opens the door. Because my entrance in the play, I had to open the door and I walk in. He said, no, don't open the door and walk right in. Open the door and wait. Now everybody leans forward, waiting. Then you walk in. So I did that. I did that in Magnificent Seven. Yeah, I walked up to the saloon. I don't know if the way they cut it, you can't tell. But I actually got that advice from
Take
George
that
Siegel.
pause.
Take that pause.
You can never get advice early enough. It's
My first film,
It's
George
going to come
Siegel.
back and do it. I mentioned the theater because at the end of this year, you're doing what I think has to be a passion project for you in doing
Fences.
Fences.
It's good.
Something I've heard people saying they were going to do it from 1985.
Right, that's
when
right.
August Wilson was doing.
Eddie Murphy and James L. Jones.
That's
were
right.
supposed to do
It was
right.
supposed to happen and it didn't happen. Why is it a passion project for you?
Scott Rudin, 7 years ago, maybe 2009. He sent me the screenplay that August Wilson wrote. He says, "You read it. What do you want to direct it, produce it? What do you want to do? Whatever you want to do." I said, "Well, let me read it first." So when I read it, then I said, "Okay, wait a minute. I got to go back and read the play." Then I read the play, and I'm thinking I'm too young because I'm thinking when I was young when I went to see James Earl Jones, and it says 53. And I'm going, wait a minute, I better hurry because I'm too old. So I called Scott and said, let's do the play. He said, you want to do the play? I said, yeah. I said, can you raise the money? He said, give me 10 minutes. And he raised the money, and we did the play. So I knew I wanted to use the core people that we did the play with on Broadway. So I used Russell Hornsby, obviously Viola Davis, and Stephen Henderson, who was wonderful, and Michael T. Williamson, who was wonderful. And it gave us a good rhythm and a good bass for the film.
When you were shooting it.
Yeah, because we all knew it. We all knew the material.
I don't know if everybody knows if they've seen had the chance to see these plays, but August Wilson has written, what is it, 10
plays.
about being black in America through different decades to do that.
And not even just being black in America. Fences is really a universal story about love and betrayal and, you know, and family.
It's set in Pittsburgh.
It's set in Pittsburgh in the 50s.
In the 50s.
And he's an old, you know, over the hill wannabe baseball player who's frustrated about it. You know, and well, I don't want to give it all away, but I can tell you, Viola Davis, like in the play, she slays them, and Stephen Henderson and Michael T. It's just great performances.
So did you also want to do a lot more of August Wilson's plays?
I made a 9-picture deal with HBO to produce the other 9 August Wilson plays. So I already have the screenplay for Ma Rainey. Ruben Santiago Hudson adapted, who wrote Lackawanna Blues and won Emmys. He adapted it for me, and hopefully we'll shoot that one next year. So I'd like to do one a year for the next.
That's an ambitious undertaking.
It is.
Produce,
it is.
Even if you're not directing it.
Yeah,
and
yeah, it
acting
is.
in it.
And it might, you know, maybe less than one a year when it's right and when the material's ready to be, you know, filmed.
You've done kind of every medium that somebody could do in what you're doing with the theater, with film, with TV. Look at those years you were on St. Elsewhere.
That's correct. Yeah.
You must think you're a doctor. No, come on. After a while, people must stop you and say, "Can you look at this little spot?"
No, they don't remember.
They don't remember St. Elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just.
I mean, people don't come up. They don't mention St. Elsewhere much.
Really, they don't come up to you and say, "I loved you in blah blah."
Yeah. What's wrong with
Malcolm X was just great. They don't say that to you.
You know, I've learned, like I said, movies belong to the people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's movies, and not to say I didn't like St. Elsewhere, I did. But sometimes a movie that I hated is somebody's favorite. You know, so I kind of go, you know what? That's why I say movies belong to the people. You make it, you see it, you talk about it, you promote it, and then I'm on moving forward.
Can you tell when you're making, without mentioning the name of the movie, when something's not working?
Yes.
And can you tell pretty soon?
The ones I'm thinking of, yes.
Yeah, I can see whatever he's thinking of right now.
Yeah. Well,
this is it.
Yeah. And sometimes you can think it's going to be, you got something and it's not, you know, but I haven't had too many real clunkers. But even some of those are someone's favorite.
Well, I have ones that I do that might not have been the biggest hits.
Right.
But people always say, when I've had actors who have been as successful as you are, I usually ask them, what are there 1 or 2 movies that you did that you were really proud of that didn't find the audience that people could find now, that they could go rent?
Well, and they
stream?
do. I was just talking to someone who was talking about Devil in a Blue Dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, you know, that's a lot of people's favorite. There's a young guy was saying today his favorite movie of mine was Devil in a Blue Dress.
And I have a thing for The Mighty Quinn.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, see, there you go. Without terrible accents.
Oh, come on.
Oh, we couldn't get that Jamaican accent.
It was
between
the
me and
feeling.
Robert Towles and it was oh,
the
boy.
accent, yeah. Well,
that's a hard one.
You have to do accents, but
Yeah.
I bring that up because, as you know, from the last time you were here, we always end in song.
A song?
You know, Denzel, I want to remind you
Let me
because
tell you
you
a
don't do
story.
it. I'll tell you what you did.
What?
You sang, because you haven't done the big screen musical
No,
yet.
let's get it straight.
No.
I didn't sing.
You sang. Not
yeah.
only did you sing,
I attempted to
Over
sing.
the Rainbow. Brilliant.
Somewhere. Oh, God,
did
I can
that.
hear my wife.
What?
Because she cringes
Pauletta
whenever I
isn't-
try to sing.
She doesn't like it when you sing?
I actually did an audition for, I don't remember the Broadway show, and Pauletta, this was many moons ago when we first met, and she came in and accompanied me. She's a classically trained piano player. And I sang Just My Imagination by the Temptations. It was just my imagination. And they were, thank you. I was like, well, no, thank you very much. Thank you. It sent me out there like.
And so
And you
that
know how it is
bothered
when you
you?
audition, and it's like a black hole. You can't see the people out there. They're in the dark, and you're up on the bro. And, of course, the person before me could sing like Caruso.
But there must be something in your head that you have in your heart that you sing when you're in the shower. Something that's going on. What did you sing to Chris Pratt when you were doing Magnificent Seven? That theme, which comes in at the end, the Elmer Bernstein one.
Yes,
da, 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 that was great.
That was good.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you can
so
carry
I'm
it
just
too.
looking for something.
Look at me trying to change the subject.
We'll do it.
And you're not buying it.
I am not buying it. You know, you don't have the gun.
I'll
you can't
make
do
a deal
this
with
to
you.
me like this.
I'll make a deal with
yes,
you.
it's a deal.
A duet.
I'll do it. Whatever
Here we
you
go.
say.
What are we going to sing?
All the way.
Oh,
Let's do
that's
that.
interesting you said that. I'm using Little Jimmy Scott's Day by Day.
Oh, well, we can do that.
Yeah.
Look at this. Here's
Oh,
the
come
guy.
on, all the
he's
way.
a bounty hunter in this. He's
come on.
He's afraid of nothing. Day by day.
Oh no, all the way, all the way.
When somebody needs you, it's no good unless she needs you.
All the way.
That's all I wanted. Look at that. It was beautiful. Happy to be near you.
I don't know the lines, but
it doesn't
I'll
matter.
follow you
all the way. Call Scott Rudin and tell him to do a musical version of the Magnificent Seven.
Only if you'll be in it.
I'll be in it.
I got witnesses.
I don't know what I'm going to be.
I got witnesses.
But I'm in it. It's a deal. It's a deal.